Awesome. I was successful. Welcome to the ArtsBuild's community grant information session. I am Melissa. I am the manager of grants and community engagement here at ArtsBuild. What we're going to do first, I'm going to close my door and then I'm going to share my PowerPoint. See if I can share. No matter how many times I do this. All right, this takes a second. Awesome. By thumbs up or something in the chat, can you tell me if you all can see my first PowerPoint slide?
We can see it.
Perfection. Thank you. Okay. Get started. So again, welcome to the ArtsBuild Community Grant Informational Session. As you see here, there's a beautiful mural. It was created through Keep Saudi Daisy Beautiful as an ArtsBuild community grant. What was really fantastic about this mural was it was not only led by an artist, but a number of community members also participated in creating the mural. So if you happen to be in Saudi Daisy, go by Wimpy's and you'll see the beautiful mural. I am obviously not good at this. Let's see. Okay, perfect. Throughout the session, you are welcome to put questions in the chat. You're welcome to unmute yourself and raise your hand and ask questions. There'll also be time at the end for me to answer questions as well. Just know I am managing two screens, so I am trying to keep an eye on the chat as well. But if I miss it at the end, we'll definitely take care of it. This is our agenda. As I did the welcome, we're going to talk about Tennessee Arts Commission, arts and ArtsBuild in general, ABC objectives, deadlines, eligibility, funding, activities, supporting documents, the rubric, award process, websites, and lastly, how to jump over to the Commission's website to register for this grant. So Tennessee Arts Commission, a fun fact about this grant, it's actually not one of ArtsBuild's grants. It is a grant through the Tennessee Arts Commission that we are fortunate enough to be able to manage on their behalf. So you will be working within the Tennessee Arts Commission's grant portal. So if you've worked through ours, that's awesome, but you're going to do a different portal this round. We will walk you through it, not a problem at all. One of the great things about Tennessee Arts Commission is that 80% of the grants are supported, funded by the purchase of specialty license plates. Why I add this is just to emphasize the impact that you can have on the arts in Chattanooga. The one pointing towards the fish is the one I have on my vehicle because I'm very proud to support the arts in Tennessee. So ArtsBuild, as I look through all who is on the call, I recognize a lot of the names, but there are some names I don't recognize. And so I'm going to go over ArtsBuild, our mission and our goals and our priorities and things of that nature. You know, our mission is to build stronger communities through the arts. It's very simple, very straightforward, and that can be completed in multiple capacities. And so as you see here, I'll do grant making last, but we do arts education. What that means is one of our programs called Imagine sends nearly 14,000 Hamilton County elementary school kids to an arts experience. And so it pays for the tickets, pays for the busing, pays for substitutes if that is needed. So K through 5 has this opportunity. All the school has to do is ask for it, and they will be able to take their entire elementary school to different various field trips. We also have shared services, and what this is we offer training for artists and arts organizations to further their professional background in the arts, to support their art organization, elevating their organization and things of that nature. We also do leadership development. We support small, medium, and large arts and culture organizations to move forward in what they do and grow well in Chattanooga, Hamilton County. And then arts advocacy. We participate with Tennesseans for the Arts in a virtual advocacy day, typically in March, and in-person events. We talk to our political leaders in Hamilton County and regionally about the importance of arts, not only for our county, but for the entire state of Tennessee and the entire US. And then lastly is grant making, and that's a lot of what I focus on. So ArtsBuild's community is one of 5 grant programs that we manage through ArtsBuild. So ArtsBuild, I'm going to just read our equity statement because we value saying that out loud and sinking it in within ourselves. So ArtsBuild does not and shall not discriminate on the basis of race, color, religion, creed, gender expression, age, national origin, ancestry, disability, marital status, sexual orientation, or military status in any of its activities or operations. These activities include, but are not limited to, hiring and firing of staff, selection of volunteers and vendors, provision of funding and services. We are committed to providing an inclusive and welcoming environment for all members of our staff, clients, volunteers, subcontractors, and vendors. So now we are going to talk about specifically ArtsBuild's community. We're going to go through A to Z of it. So ArtsBuild's community grant program is designed to provide support for art projects that broaden access to arts experiences, addresses community quality of life through the arts, or enhances the sustainability of asset-based cultural enterprises. 13 designated agencies administer the ABC program on behalf of the Tennessee Arts Commission. There are 95 counties covered. And as I said, ArtsBuild is the designated agency for Hamilton County. So when you're writing your grant, not only do you have my support, but you also have the support of Tennessee Arts Commission. So if there's any questions that arise that I can't answer, we'll just connect you with the appropriate staff at the commission, and we'll make sure you get what you need. So this is how it's broken down, where the 13 designated areas, what they cover and things of that nature. Let's say that you are someone who does run a nonprofit in Tennessee, but you happen to not be in Hamilton County. Not a problem. You can stay on this training because what I'm covering is what everyone is covering, but you should email me which my email is in the chat, so I can connect you with an appropriate designated agency. Okay. So some of the objectives for ArtsBuild's community, it provides innovative arts experiences such as like arts festival, theater performances, concerts, visual arts exhibits, and craft shows. It also is geared towards affecting positive change in community social issues. For example, you could create an art project, arts experience for community members experiencing cancer, or our veterans or seniors, or traditionally underserved populations of our county. So what they do is they positively contribute to community issues. You can do conservation and health and literacy and things of that nature. Also, you can strengthen social networks through community engagement. Examples include services that are not normally part of an organization's work, such as lectures, demos, tours, festivals, conferences, and symposia. So what that means is if you have an event that you do year after year after year, traditionally that is not eligible for an ArtsBuild community grant. But let's say it is one that you do each year, but you're elevating it or taking it to the next level or shifting it. You're taking the opportunity to use these funds to revitalize it, that would be eligible. And then another objective is to enhance a community's identity and development. So examples include community revitalization efforts through the arts, creative placemaking, development of natural resources using the arts, and public art. So the Wimpy's mural is an example of enhancing a community's identity and development. And then the last one, which it's not used as often from what I've seen. I've done this 3 years and I haven't seen as many in this objective. So it's one to explore because it's more unique. Our reviewers don't see it as often, but offer training for artists or arts administrators. Example, training offered through a master class program or a makerspace or an arts incubator. So if you have a question about that one, since it's not often used, or at least hasn't within our county as readily, we can talk through your idea before you move forward. Does anybody have any questions before I move on to deadlines and things like that about objectives and things of that nature? You're welcome to unmute yourself or put it in the chat. Awesome. So deadlines, that's super important because no late applications will be accepted. So the application is currently open through the Tennessee Arts Commission's website portal. They need to be submitted by 11:59 p.m. on July 1, 2024. The key to this is they're in Central Time, so you have to account for that. As well, I would say, get it done earlier. If you're waiting till July 1, odds are something's going to happen and it's not going to get submitted. Something happens in your world or something happens on the website world and things of that nature. Internet goes out. Just do yourself a favor and get it submitted in May, early June, and things of that nature. So if you're a first-time grantee through the Tennessee Arts Commission, you must register your organization and create a profile. That slows your process down a little bit. So I would jump in on that because you have to fill that out in order to get access to the application. One of the things we do here at ArtsBuild is we offer for every single one of our grant programs the opportunity to have a draft review. That means that I can see in real time your application And as long as you request by May 27th, 5 p.m. Eastern time via email, say, hey, Melissa, can you take a look at my application and provide feedback? What I will do is I will read through your application and from the eyes of a reviewer and give feedback via email, or we can set up a call or an in-person meeting, whatever works for you. And what you can do with the feedback, you have a choice to use it, you have a choice to not use it, but I will send that to you typically within 48 hours of you requesting it. Okay, so we're kind of a overview, get it in by July 1, 11:59 p.m. Central Time. You want a draft review by end of day, 5 p.m., May 27th, Eastern Time. I know that's Memorial Day, but I will be working on draft reviews from Tuesday through Friday of that week. So you have to meet some eligibility requirements to move forward. So you need to be a 501c3 legally chartered in Tennessee. Or you could be a local entity of government, such as government departments, public libraries, public schools. And I'll talk more about schools who are applying because there's some special things to keep in mind if you're a school who is applying. There is a need for a unique entity identifier. So we call it UEI, and it used to be DUNS, and now I think it was April 2022, they shifted it to UEI. It's free to get the number. Most of y'all on this on this training probably already have it. But if you don't, I would jump on it this week through sam.gov and register so you get your UEI number. So when you apply, you can actually submit your application without the UEI number. But if you are funded, we cannot cut a check until we have that UEI number. If you have any challenges, just reach out to me. I can support you through the process, or if I can't, Tennessee Arts Commission can. So the funding amount for this grant is up to $5,000. So we see ranges of 1,000 to up to 5,000. It's whatever your project needs. There's some really new components to this grant that we're very excited about. One of the things about this grant is it does not require a cash match. So folks on this call who have applied for ABC before know that there used to be a 1-to-1 cash match, which was really hard on smaller organizations to apply for full funding. And so for this round, there's no cash match, which is fantastic. Those who have applied before also know that on the funding side in the expense category, you used to only be able to put funding into 2 line items, and now you can do it up to 4. That might make no sense to you on this call if you haven't seen the application. But once you jump in there and read their instructions, you're going to be like, oh, I see what she's talking about. So 2 great changes. You can do more expense categories and no cash match. So the funding year is August 16th, 2024 through June 15th, 2025. Proposed project must engage the public. So private events are not eligible. It's open and accessible to the general public. They have a new aspect this year that if a project happens on Juneteenth, we can work that into the funding year. So what that means is you'll notice Juneteenth falls outside of the traditional funding year. So if you have an idea for Juneteenth, before you jump into the application, email me directly. Let's talk about it and connect with the commission to get approval for you to apply for a Juneteenth event, which we're really excited about. So I hope some of y'all take advantage of that opportunity. The thing about that one is, if you do have a project on Juneteenth, because it falls outside of the funding year, you will have to be open to being very quick turnaround on the final report, because final reports are due traditionally by June 30th or within 30 days of the end of your project. So Juneteenth events will just have to have a rapid turnaround, and I can support you in that. Some funding restrictions include, so if you have a project already being supported by the commission, you cannot also apply for ABC funding. You cannot use ABC funding for capital improvements such as construction expenses, equipment purchases, things of that nature. You cannot use it for the elimination of accumulated debt. You cannot use it for in-school curriculum-based projects. But you can, if you're a school, apply for the funds. What it means is you have to use it outside of school hours. Examples of such is, let's say you have a book club that happens outside of school, after school or on the weekends, that would be eligible. Let's say you have outside of school hours, a arts festival for your school, that would be eligible as well. Any questions related to that, you just email me and we'll talk it through, and likely if it's outside of school hours, it will work out well. You cannot use the funding for endowments or out-of-state travel expenses. Let's see. Look at that. So the expense table, as we talked about in FY25, which is the year we're going into, although ABC does not require a match, applicants should use the other projected expense column when project costs exceed the ABC request. So basically what that means is, let's say you're requesting 5,000, but your event is 6,000. You're going to have to, within the application, communicate how you're paying for that other 1,000 of expenses. That way we know that you have all your ducks in a row for managing the full event. When you do expenses in the application, there's explanation boxes. So for every line item, you're going to pop down and say, if it's for supplies, you're going to say decorations, or you're going to say, in a sound system and things of that nature. You're explaining what you're using the funding for. That way I can look and the commission can look to make sure it does fall within eligibility. So, definitely be very descriptive, things of that nature. And so, as I said, the income table will just demonstrate to us that you can take care of the extra budgetary items, such as if your event was 6,000, how are you paying for the 1,000 above the requested 5,000? So the majority of projects are requests for artist fees and outside fees for production, curation, presentation of the arts. Other expenses may be covered as well: supplies, shipping, equipment rentals, salaries, benefits, taxes. And so most of the ABC grants involve artists employed in some capacity. So paying them is a very important part of this grant and all of ArtsBuild's grants that we oversee and manage. So if you have artist fees, you would just line item it, let's say 1,000, and then in the explanation box you say 4 artists are being paid at $250 per artist. Let's say you do have an artist name already. It's really good to put the specific artist name. If you only have 2 out of the 4, just convey that and say, this is, who we're going to use, and we're looking for 2 more, but we have the capacity to find those artists. You can supplies, what do you need to make your event successful? Do you need sound equipment? Do you need, a lighting person, things of that nature? Does anybody have questions at this point? Oh, I see it. Could we prepay a speaker for Juneteenth in order to meet the original June 15th grant term? No, you really can't, because you can pay them within at any point in the funding year, but you would have to finalize the project and your report to receive your final check. So, and this sort of jumps ahead. So your initial check with ABC is 40% of your funding award. And then upon receipt, completion of the project, completion of the final report, you receive the final 60%. So keep that one in mind. Did that answer it, Jeff? Fairly well-ish. Awesome. Okay. Going back over some things that are not allowable in terms of activities for ABC funding: private fundraisers, cash awards, capital improvements, food and hospitality, events to which general public is not invited. The food aspect, sometimes folks accidentally put food in this grant, and it's just not something that the commission pays for in respect to this grant. So if you're incorporating food into your activities, you just have the separate line item of what you're paying for, which would be food. So we talked about schools, how this grant will pay for activities outside of the school day. Let's say you have a brilliant idea for within the school day. Fantastic. There are arts programs within Tennessee Arts Commission that will help fund those, and some of these are listed here. What I would encourage you to do is either explore their website and find the appropriate staff to talk about those specific grant programs, or you could email me directly and I can do an intro for you if that's easier for you. So, particularly for nonprofits, there's some documents that you have to attach to your application. One is the corporation annual report. This one really confuses folks. So I put in there a picture of the Tennessee Secretary of State website and what you're looking for. It does need to be your most recent. What that means for Tennessee Arts Commission and us is within the last 12 months. If that is hard for you to figure out and all the things, you just email me. I'll send you the direct link. And actually in my follow-up email today, I will include the link as well. You'll have to do your board list, and it's very specific of what you need in there. You need their full name, you need their email, you need their address, number of years on the board, and length of terms. That's hard to remember. You're going to get these slides at the end, so you're going to have this as a resource, so you don't have to memorize that. Before I move forward to the rubric and things of that nature, it reminded me, as I was saying, I'm going to send you the slides. If you also go to the Tennessee Arts Commission website and go to the ArtsBuild Community Grant, on the right-hand lower side, you'll see tutorials. And there are 3 different ones that you can scroll through. And a lot of what I'm talking about today is within those slides. But there's so much information. It's like it, you know, it addresses what to do before you apply, what you do during the application, what happens when you are funded and during the funding year and things of that nature. So I'll include that link in the follow-up email as well. So it's a 100-point scale. And so community reviewers will be reading and scoring your application. So ArtsBuild nor the Tennessee Arts Commission makes the funding decision in terms of reading and scoring. We recruit local community members to be on the panels. And so they are provided this evaluation criteria. So 35 points goes towards artistic and cultural merit. Community engagement and participation is 35 points. Budget and financial support is 20. Operational practice is 10. So when you have completed your application, it's still in draft, and you have requested a draft review. When I am reading through it, I am keeping the criteria in mind. And so if artistic and cultural merit needs to be beefed up a little bit, I will specifically say, like, this is what I've noticed is potentially missing and what potentially you could add to strengthen that component. So it's really important, I think, for especially new applicants to request a draft review. We don't mind. We actually really enjoy reading through your applications and seeing all the creativity out there and supporting you towards hopeful funding. And so as I talked about, local community members review these grants. The timeline for reviewing traditionally falls into late July, early August. When you have applied and you're being reviewed, once you submit, you are going to get an email confirming that it was submitted, and also an email that says, this is the date and the time of the review panel, because there will be a panel in probably early August where you're going to come on and talk about your grant and answer any questions from reviewers. So it's really important, once you get that email from us, you put it on your calendar. And it's usually in about 10-minute increments. So you're just popping on for 10 minutes, talking about things and popping off. What that allows reviewers to do, they've done initial scoring, and then they will have the opportunity to rescore based on what they hear. And as you'll see, the art truck is part of Art 120's Arts Initiatives. If you haven't seen it, I bet it will be at Four Bridges this weekend if you're going to that art show. Okay, so let's say you're funded. That is fantastic, right? There are some new next steps to keep in mind before you can get your first check. So you're going to sign a contract. Basically, the contract is like, hey, I propose this project. I'm going to follow through on this project in the capacity that I put forward. And in response, I'm going to get 2 checks. The first one, 40%, the second, 60%. So you will request your first payment when you sign your contract. You will also have to revise your budget because potentially you are provided full funding. Let's say you ask for $5,000, you get $5,000. That's fantastic. But sometimes you ask for $5,000 and you get, let's say, 68% of what you requested. So then you have to go back and revise your budget to fit the funding amount that you were awarded. And then also you have to do the Title VI training, which is in your organizational profile. All of these steps will be re-communicated to you once you're funded, but we just wanted you to be aware of them. All of this aspect is due by October 1st. I really encourage you all to get it done as soon as possible, because until you get it done, you do not get a check. And so I would just plug through it the moment you receive your funding award letter. Any questions about that? Oh. Excellent. So this list of websites I will include in the follow-up email. You know, the commission's website, their grants page, their ABC page specifically, the tutorials, their grant system, and sam.gov is where you obtain your UEI number. Some people confuse UEI with EIN, all these are acronyms, right? We do not want the EIN number. So don't confuse that aspect. If you do, I will notice it and I will shoot you an email, no problem. Okay. I am going to open it for questions or thoughts, and I might pop over to the commission's website so you can kind of see that. And I'll try and unshare first. I don't know how to unshare, so maybe we won't unshare. What questions do you have? Oh, there I am. I can unshare. Any questions? We have run through this really quickly. Well, I'm letting folks think about what questions they have. I might try and pull up the commission's website. So this is the Tennessee Arts Commission website, is specifically the ArtsBuild's community page. You will find so much information here. It might be a little sometimes information overload. So as you're reading through it, if you get a little stressed, just shoot me an email and I'll explain parts of it and help you move forward in a less stressful way. Here are the tutorials down here. Just you can go through them and things of that nature. You see all of the kind of application dates and deadlines and the funding year and things of that capacity. And then now you're seeing the Arts Commission website for their grant portal. And for new users, you'll register and get started that way. Let's say you've already applied before for a grant through the Tennessee Arts Commission. You can log in and apply. So for the training aspect, does it have to be done as a class, or can it be a series of individual sessions? It can definitely be a series of individual sessions. So these don't have to just be one-time events because you have a full funding year. So you could have, let's say, a 6-week session. You can have multiple events. You can have a spring event and a fall event and a spring event and an early summer event, things of that nature. As long as you're falling within the funding year, you're fine. If we want to have an artist-led project but have not yet built that relationship, is it okay to apply without naming who will create the work? I would say, yeah, it is fine. Will your application be stronger if you've identified the partners of this grant, the artists that are being involved? Yes, it will be stronger. let's say that you have an idea and you want to run it by myself or staff members at ArtsBuild, and we can let you know a list of artists that we've worked with in the past and things of that nature. We also have a BIPOC artist list that has been curated by one of our staff members. We can send that to you so you can go ahead and start exploring the artist most appropriate for your project. That said, you don't have to, but it is stronger when you've identified all the partners involved. Can the artists be art students at UTC? Yes, they can. We have been very fortunate and thrilled to work with a number of artists, student artists at UTC, so for sure. Any other questions? Okay. What I'm gonna do is if you are a small nonprofit 501c3, can you work with the city of Chattanooga to apply for this grant? Yes, you can. Why don't you, Nan, email me your idea and what department you're thinking of working with within the city, and we can kind of work that out and figure out, is it best to apply under your 501? You can just apply under your 501 and use them as a partner, particularly now that there's not a cash match, so small nonprofits aren't at a disadvantage in that respect. Is there a limit on type of art? Music, dance, virtual space design? Music and dance for sure. If I was truthful, I don't know what virtual space design is. Just something I don't know. So why don't we connect with the Arts Commission? Devin, if you would email me, we can make sure that if you have that idea, if it works for them within their definition of the arts in Hamilton, in their grant program. Does that work? Awesome. These have been really good questions. Thank you. I'm going to stop recording, and I'm going to stay on for a second. Sometimes people don't like to ask questions while it's being recorded. I totally get it. But we really appreciate y'all being on this Zoom. My email is Melissa, MELISSA @artsbuild.com. And just reach out to us anytime you need us. Thank you.